शन्नो मित्रशं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह आनन्दो विद्वान् न बिभेति कदाचनेति तस्यैष एव शारीर आत्मा यः पूर्वस्य तस्माद्वा एतस्मात् मनोमया अन्योन्यः विज्ञानमयः तेनैष पूर्णः स वा एष पुरुषविद एव तस्य पुरुषविधता अन्वयं पुरुषविदः तस्य श्रद्धैव शिरः ऋतं दक्षिणः पक्षः सत्यमुत्तरः पक्षः योग आत्मा महत्पुच्छं प्रतिष्ठा तदप्येष श्लोको bhavati. This is the section we are in. It is a segue from Manomaya to the next level or the locus of error. What kind of error? I am Manomaya. This is the error. I am Pranamaya. I am Prana. I am the mind, etc. This is the error. And so to ward off these errors, we have the methodology, as we have seen earlier. What is the methodology? Shakha Chandranyaya. So the methodology is Shakha Chandranyaya. Shakha means what? Branch. Chandra is what is in the fake background behind me? Moon. So if you are showing the moon to a small child who doesn't know what is moon, and of course it's not the full moon, because that you don't need Shakha Chandra Nyaya for full moon. Full moon is visible. It will be silly to say, okay, look at the first branch, look at the second branch, in between, look, there is the moon. You don't need branches to look at the full moon, okay? Why? If you need branches to look at the full moon, it is that means that we have branched off to some other trip mentally. So we don't need branches. Here the idea is a small crescent moon, Dvitiya Chandra, on the second day after the new moon, the second day, that little sliver of white that kind of dots the setting, the sunset sky, and that the sky with the setting sun. That is what is being talked about here. So that is difficult to see. So then you position yourself in between two branches and you see, tell the child first, do you see the tree? Yes, I see the tree. Do you see the lower branch going like this way? Yes. Do you see the top branch? Yes. All right, look in between to the left a little bit. Ah, yes, what a lovely moon. Crescent moon. And so that is where the Shakha Chandra Nyaya is deployed. And as we have seen this whole section where the what's its name, the each locus of error is detailed one by one. It is tackled very, very beautiful. One by one by one it is tackled, and immediately the Atma is not pointed out. The Atma is just like the moon is not immediately pointed out. Why? Because why? The person who is pointing out the moon happens to be very clever. They don't want to waste their breath. They don't want to just because they know it will not be understood. And here the Guru in the form of the Upanishad also knows that if this is the Atma, if it is immediately in the most straightforward manner pointed out, what will happen? Kuch nahi hoga. Nothing will happen. The person will be as, business as before. No change will take place. And so here is just a step by step unfoldment. And the beauty of it is, first you have the tree in the form of Annamaya Kosha. Do you see the tree? Yes. Oh, tree is Atma. Oh, tree is Atma because everything is Atma. Tree is Atma. And then there's a discussion, and then so tree, what is tree sthaniya? Tree sthaniya means that which stands in the place of the tree is what? Is one's own, is the Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya, Annavikara, this body. And so the body is like the tree. And then do you see the tree? Yes. And then you abstract, then that is Atma. Yes, 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 that is Atma. Then you abstract from that a bit. And even within that, you abstract. It's a very ingenious methodology. And earlier I could not explain it because we had not, I did talk about it, but I could not explain it in so much detail because we had to go through a few of the koshas to understand the depth of this and the cleverness of this methodology. Clever, the word in Sanskrit is patutama. This methodology is the cleverest methodology. Precisely because there is so much thinking that has gone into it. It's really amazing. So first you are made to see the branch, and then after that, first you're made to see the tree, then that is one kosha, and then even there is a little bit of an abstraction. Your body is just like any other body. There is no difference. Why? Because ultimately, what is the cause of maintaining this body? Food. Food is the cause. And so, if your body is born of food, sustained by food, and then goes back to food, same is the case with all other bodies. See, already this anna vikara, the modification of food, annamaya. This body is a modified version of the food you eat and the food that somebody else eats. And this is what the Chandala, the funeral groundskeeper, tells Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara is coming out of the bath in Varanasi. And then apparently this funeral groundskeeper is barring his way, or he is standing to go for the bath, and he is just there in front of him. And so some of the students of Adi Shankara, we cannot say it was Adi Shankara who did this, because anybody who is a jnani will not do this. So perhaps some overeager student trying to make room for the teacher said, "Hey, gacha gacha, go, 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 make room, make room." And the idea is somebody who in a society where there is a lot of taboos, purity, pollution issues, there is a lot of do's and don'ts. So when you come out of the bath, what do you not do? You do not go and hug a chandala. Why? Because that fellow is coming from the funeral grounds. which means he has been dealing with dead bodies. And so, therefore, there is some kind of a, you have to take a bath if you're dealing with dead bodies and all, and the person hasn't taken a bath, and so keep distance. This is what they're told. And the Chandala happened to be a Vedantin. Surprise! Surprise! Knew Vedanta fully from beginning to end. And what does the Chandala says? All right, you're saying Gacha Gacha, go, go, go. Kim? Annamaya Annamayam, or Chaitanyat Chaitanyam Duri Kartum Vanchasi. What is it that you're trying to distance? To what are you saying Gacha Gacha? Your body, product of food. Yes, you have been eating, we have heard, roots, fruits, and berries. And I have been eating things that eat the roots, fruits, and berries. That's what I have been eating. In a way, both of us are vegetarians. You eat vegetables and plants. I feed the plant to the animal, and then I eat only vegetarian animals. And so I'm also vegetarian in a way. And so, what is the difference? Yeah, I have flesh and bones. I eat flesh and bones. You eat roots and fruits, and then but this body is a product of the food you eat, and my body is the product of the food I eat. It's a vikara of the food. Who are you going to distance, or are you trying to distance one consciousness from another? Adi Shankara is floored with this explanation. I mean, he is just completely flummoxed. And he says, whoever knows this is my guru. And he falls at his feet. And then, so this way, this is the, so the food body means this body is not just something that is a product of what's that, some we cannot attribute this body only to DNA, or my parents made this body. All that is gone. Even in this understanding of food as the cause of this body, and what is the name for the cause? Brahman. So, food as Brahman itself gives that separation, that inner space to understand the body differently and to merge with the cause, because that which is the effect is non separate from the cause. So there is already a transformation that has taken place. Food as Brahman, Upasana is given, the phala of the Upasana is given, and then we go to the next step. Do you see this branch? And what is the branch? Pranamaya. Pranamaya is a branch. Another Maya, a little more subtle than the body, because it is prana, it is breathing, and it is all other physiological, what is that called, activities over which one has no control. It is all again in the order of Bhagavan, and then this prana Maya, that's why it's called Maya. It is prana, it's a vikara of this Vayu vikara. And so this vikara of this Vayu in different ways, uh, informing and obtaining in this body, obtaining in every body. And so this prana alone is Ishvara. And then unto this Ishvara I do Upasana. There is again a separation from prana. I merge into the Sutratma, the collective prana, which is Bhagavan. Prano vai Ishvara. So then, coming from Annamaya to Pranamaya, no. Atma is Annamaya, but Annamaya, Annamaya is Atma, but Atma is not Annamaya. Then what is Atma? Pranamaya. Anyontara Atma, Pranamaya. Anyaha and Abhyantarascha. Anyaha means separate. Abhyantara means inward. Inward in the form of, in the sense of hard to objectify. It's not like within is not a spatial location, as much as within in the sense of more subtle, more and more subtle. From the physical body, easy to objectify. Prana is eminently difficult to objectify compared to the body. And still it is possible compared to that Manomaya. Again, even more difficult to objectify is the Manomaya. very, very difficult to objectify. And so this manomaya now is seen as vritti vrityatmaka. And what kind of vrittis you want to have? You want to have, really speaking, what kind of thoughts, if anybody has the choice, what kind of thoughts would you like to have? Would you like to have angry thoughts? No. Would you like to have resentful thoughts? No. Would you like to have revengeful and vengeful thoughts? No. Would you like to have thoughts of homicide? No. Would you like to have thoughts of suicide? Absolutely not. Then what kind of thoughts would you like to have? I would like to have thoughts that are contentment, that are contented. I would like to have thoughts that are dharmic. I would like to have thoughts that take me away from all these raga dveshas, forcing me to creating a pleasure and forcing me to fulfill them. And the embodiment of those kinds of thoughts is just the Veda alone, Veda including Veda. So therefore it is Vrityatmaka. Therefore it is in the form of the not the Vritti that you have, but you want to get rid of, but the kind of Vrittis you would like to invite. More accommodation, more spiritual growth, more emotional maturity. All this is possible only through worship, prayer, Veda. This is what it is. So Manomaya becomes a very, so this is the Atma. Then it says now here that is even though this is Atma, it is not, one is not able to objectify it. Yato vacho nivartante. But it becomes an upasana. In fact, the Tikakara says you need not take it like a upasana. Tikakara gives other explanations also. He says it can be taken as a sadhana rather than an upasana. Sadhana means some kind of a spiritual practice, but then we are splitting hairs because sadhana is a form of upasana only. Upasana means meditation, contemplation of the Manomaya as Atma, as Brahman is also a form of, upasana is also a form of sadhana only. But that doesn't matter any which way you take it. Here, this was considered to be Atma. This alone was considered to be Atma. Okay, it is not Pranamaya, it is Manomaya. No, 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 no. There is one more branch that I would like you to see. And so you can just take it either as Shakha Chandranyaya or the other one, Arundhati Darshananya. Arundhati, this is a star that is named after a sage. And so every married couple has to have Arundhati Darshanam together. And so for our Arundhati is a very faint star. So first you have to locate the Big Dipper, then you have to that's called the Saptarshis, and then you have to go to the left of that, and then then finally the faint one is Arundhati. It's the same kind of a magazine, except perhaps with one difference. The Shakha Chandranyaya has fewer steps, that's all. Fewer steps. And so here the Manomaya is in the form of Vritti, and it is which is the Veda. Even if you don't know the Veda, it is still in the form of the kind of thoughts that you would like to have, how you would like your mind to be filled with a certain calm, etc. That is what is Vedatmaka, and that is what is being talked about. And then the next thing here is to look at something which is important, is that Manomaya, Atma, of course, is, non-separate from Manomaya. Manomaya is in fact Atma. Atma is not Manomaya. Why? Anyontara Atma Vijnanamaya. Another Atma is there. Oh, that also has a name. Yes, it is called Vijnanamaya. Vijnana means, it doesn't, it means well ascertained knowledge. Jnana is enough. But the word we, the prefix we, means well ascertained teaching or knowledge. So, why are we bringing in well ascertained knowledge or teaching here? What kind of knowledge? Any kind of knowledge. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be Vedanta. It doesn't have to be Vedanta. It can be Vedanta, but it doesn't have to be Vedanta. It can be the Artha of the Veda, but it doesn't have to do that. Any knowledge that is free of doubt, free of error, free of vagueness is called Vijnana. And Mayat Vikararthe, the suffix Maya means what is that? A modification of this well ascertained knowledge. Sitting in a faculty of knowledge called Buddhi. So Vijnanamaya means Buddhi here. And the Buddhi is the Nishchayatmika Vritti. The Buddhi means that which has the intellect which has the capacity to have clear knowledge, well ascertained knowledge. So you see, the Antakarana Vritti is divided into two, Manaha and Buddhi. So Manomaya is Manaha. So what is Manaha? Sankalpa Vikalpatmaka Antakarana Vrittihi Manaha. So a vritti that is not well ascertained. Yes, I'll do this. No, I've changed my mind. Okay, maybe I'll do this. No, I have changed my mind. This is what is called Manomaya. This is the Mana. Tasya Vikar. This is one type of vritti. Now, Vijnanamaya is also Vrityatmaka. That is also in the form of vritti, but the vritti, the quality of the vritti is different. Nishchayatmika Antakarana Vrittihi Vijnanamaya. That is the difference. Nishchayatmika means a well ascertained vritti, not a wishy-washy vritti. Both are in the Antakarana. Antakarana means the inner instrument. So, that which keeps changing is the mind. That where the knowledge is well established, the faculty of the intellect, where the knowledge is well ascertained, well established, that is in Sanskrit called Buddhi. And in Manomaya, we deal with the mind, and then which is more surface level, and then a more profound version of the Antakarna is to be gained in the discussion of what this is, which is Buddhi. The Tattva Bodha talks about all this in great detail. So Nishchayatmika, Antakarana Vritti, both are Vrittis, but they are different kinds of Vrittis. The Manaha means the mind will always be fickle, surface level. No, maybe I'll go there, maybe not. If I do that, then I lose this. And if I don't do this, then I lose that. And so the FOMO comes at the level of the Manaha. What is FOMO? Fear of missing out. Don't ask me what. But then there is this fear of missing out. This FOMO comes at the level of the Manaha. Oh, I'm going to miss this out. And so what am I going to do? I have to go do this so that I can do that, and so that I have this. And if I miss out that, I have to make up here. I have to go after that, and this kind of these kinds of problems are there. Manaha. Then Buddhi. Okay, I have spent my time deliberating. I have done my research, and I'm going for this alone. I'm going for this alone, and this is what I want. This is exactly the thing, and that is called Nishchayatmika Antakarana Vritti. That is the Buddhi. So the Antakarana has Manaha, buddhi, and it has the emotive faculty, chittam, which is not discussed here, and ahankara. Ahankara is discussed here because the Vijnanamaya is buddhi plus ahankara. Very interesting. Buddhi plus ahankara. That is, in short, the Vijnanamaya. Anandamaya also buddhi, but plus ahankara. But then what is the difference? If Vijnanamaya is buddhi plus ahankara, then Anandamaya is also buddhi plus ahankara, then what's the difference? The difference is that in one there is kartritva buddhi, in another there is bhoktritva buddhi. Kartritva buddhi means the buddhi that one the identification of oneself as doer. And then bhoktritva buddhi means the identification of oneself as experiencer. I am the experiencer. In other words, why me? That is Anandamaya. Where is the Ananda in that? In why me? Sorrow comes, not Ananda. That's why it is Anandamaya. That is why it's Anandamaya. It's a modification. Okay? I mean, one wants Ananda, but then one gets Maya. And then here Vijnanamaya is that same buddhi which has Nishchayatmika Antahkarana Vritti, which has which is capable of well ascertained knowledge leading to proper conclusions. That buddhi is identified with the ahankara in the form of an agent. So the short understanding after all this frills and after this long understanding, the short understanding of the Vijnanamaya Kosha is karta, aham karta iti bhavana. I am the doer. This kind of a conviction. This is Vijnanamaya. Oh, that is the Atma for now. For now, that is the Atma. So therefore, let us look at the what we chanted here. So therefore, what is that? This is the so this is Vijnanamaya. Anyontara Atma Vijnanamaya. Anyontara Atma Vijnanamaya. And that is basically what it is. So Vijnanamaya. And then what happens? Then tena manomaya tena eshaha purnaha. By that, this is filled up. What is that? By that Vijnanamaya, the Manomaya is filled up. Meaning, the Vijnanamaya, I am the doer iti vritti, pervades the Manomaya because it is more subtle. And of course, we have another maxim that we have been looking at very, very closely. That which is subtle pervades that which is gross. So that which is more subtle pervades that which is less subtle. So here, Manomaya is subtle. But then there is a much more subtle faculty which identifies with the buddhi and the ahamkara, and the conclusion is I am the doer. Not doer is me. That's different. I am the doer. I'm nothing but the doer. And then so therefore, this is what is called tena manomayena tena vijnanamayena eshaha manomayaha purnaha. Purnaha. And we saw the person who does manomaya upasana, he has ousted the fear from the heart. Why? Because of the vyashti samashti union. Understanding myself as part of the whole. Here you can use the word part of the whole because that's exactly what the understanding is. There is a whole and I am also included in it, that kind of an understanding. So the Vidwan here is Upasaka. the one who is doing this upasana. And then what? Then that person is after even in this life perhaps leads a life of no complaints, and then no fears, relatively speaking. But then there is the manifest world, and then even if the cause of fear is not removed, but one feels protected because one is with Ishvara, and so therefore it's a different kind of a protection. And after such a person drops the body, one goes to Brahmaloka. This is the idea, where of course there are no bugs and no bugging people. This is what it is. So it's a kind of a fearlessness, uh, whose cause is the ahankara or the I notion being deflated. So that is the fearlessness. The fearlessness is born of a trust. You trust Bhagavan, you trust the Niyati, you trust your own mind as part of the order. Your own mind is not just some kind of an outlier, it is part of the whole order. And so that fearlessness is born of trust. I mean, there are two ways to be unafraid. One is you knock off the reason for fear, but that's not what we are talking about here. And then you become fearless, or you trust something bigger and greater than you, so that you can take refuge in that, just like a child when it sees a cockroach for the first time, moving in a very uncertain way. The child gets scared and goes to the mother. Look, it's doing some funny things. What is that? And the mother leaves the child right there. And then what? Climbs upon the table. and, then, and then calls the father. Father doesn't even come into the room, calls pest control. And so this is how Puja Swamiji used to explain this. And so this way, here the I sublate the ahankara in the wake of the knowledge of Ishvara as everything. That is the Manomaya Upasana. But then that's not a stopping point. For many sadhakas, that becomes a stopping point. Na bibheti kadachana iti. Okay, I have found Bhagavan. And then I'm just catching the coattails of Bhagavan, and so I'm not afraid, and I have reached my end. That is a great place. But that's a great place to be. To be a devotee is a wonderful place, but that is not what is being talked about here. That's a great place to be a devotee. But being a devotee, as I have mentioned many times, is what? Is like wearing an expensive sari with big gold border and all kinds of things. And then what? Sitting at home. Oh, what is this sari for? Are you going out? No. Are you having a function, a celebration at home? No. Then why are you wearing this sari and sitting here by yourself? Oh, just like that. In other words, being equipped with this kind of a surrender to the whole, to the Almighty, in the form of your own mind, it's amazing, is a preparation for a greater understanding of how there is no cause for fear because there is nothing other than you. It's a preparation. So you just prepare. You don't do anything else. It's a preparation. You don't just sit there. And there is one more place to go. That's why Anyantara Atma Asti. Anyascha Abhyantarascha. And tena Vijnanamaya Atmana Eshaha Manomaya Purnaha. So that Vijnanamaya Atma, that Atma, here, this is the Atma. What is the Atma? The Atma is that Nishchayatmika Antakarana Vritti, the thoughts which are in the form of well ascertained knowledge. That is the Atma. Oh, really? Okay, bye bye Manomaya. Hello, Vijnanamaya. Very nice. This is a very interesting and a beautiful segue, and a very subtle segue, because if we blink, we miss it, because both are in the form of Antakarana Vritti. Both of them are in the form of Antakarana Vritti. Only the slight difference. One is a shallow vritti, which is always dilly-dallying. Yes, no, maybe, sometimes this, that, it's unable to make up its mind. And then the other one is backed by knowledge, and it is a definitive antahkarana vritti, which leads to the conclusion. What kind of conclusion? I am the karta. But what is the connection? I am the karta. Okay, I understand the two vrittis difference. I can understand that. The two vrittis are different. One is wishy-washy, and the other one is stable vritti, coming from a faculty called the intellect, buddhi. And so this is so what is the I can understand that difference. But how come Vijnanamaya is karta? Because very, very interesting. Why is it a karta? It becomes a karta. Karta means doer. Why does it become a doer? What is the connection between a nishchayatmika antahkarana vritti and doership? What is the connection? So interesting, very, very subtle. If we don't dwell on it, it will just be glossed over. So what is the connection? Okay, so you have a piece of well ascertained knowledge, all right? And so, what does this knowledge do? What are you going to do with this knowledge? Don't say nothing. And that because you have been taking classes for some time now. Oh, I'm not going to do anything with the knowledge. I'm going to sit and enjoy it. I don't want you to go there. I want you to go. Just think in a more lay person's terms. So this person may not be studying Vedanta, and we are not talking of Vedanta knowledge. We are talking of well ascertained knowledge. It could be the knowledge of driving a car, a race car, NASCAR. Okay, so the person knows how to drive a race car. That is well ascertained knowledge. And then what does the person do with this knowledge? What is the connection between this knowledge and doership? Because well ascertained knowledge leads to doing. And when the doing is there, there is an identification with the doing. And this is going to be explained a little later. We'll get to it next week. But this is the Vijnanam Yajnam Tanute, Karmani Tanute Picha. This is what does the Vijnanamaya, what is its claim to fame? It is a doer. It's a doer. And some people, in fact, identify themselves as the doer. Hey, how come your spouse is coming to all the Vedanta classes? Why don't you come? No. I'm just a doer. I'm a doer. I can't sit and listen and focus because I'm a doer. And people say this kind of proudly. Who has the time for listening to all this? There is so much to do. Look at the world. Food is not going to appear on the table, and the social causes and are not going to be taken care of on their own. Bills are not going to be paid on their own. Somebody has to do. So that is the thing. So as soon as there is knowledge of anything, it doesn't have to be Vedanta. Any knowledge. Where knowledge of how to make sambar, that itself is enough. Suddenly you feel like making sambar because you have the well ascertained knowledge. So, when you read any recipe book, some exotic dish you eat at somebody's house or in a hotel, in a restaurant, then of course you want to have more of it. But the blessed dish is very expensive, and so you come home and decide to make it yourself. So first you study the recipe book, or you study the recipe. Then what? You immediately then have to put it into practice. So the knowledge is always put into practice. What, any kind of knowledge. Karmani tanute apicha. And even spiritual knowledge is put into practice. What is spiritual knowledge? Here, spiritual knowledge means the first person of the first portion of the Veda, which promises a lot of karma phala, lot of results of action. If you do this, you will get this. Oh, that's a great knowledge to have. Let's find out. Let's do this. Mother Kunti had a boon that whichever devata she thought of, she could just hold the baby from that devata. Suddenly she found herself, she looked from her balcony, she was a young princess, looked out of her bedroom balcony and saw the rising sun. And she said, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have, you wonder what a baby of Aditya Bhagavan will look like. And immediately she was holding a very resplendent child, Karna. And so therefore, so see, she had this boon. It was well ascertained knowledge. She knew which mantra to chant. Couldn't help herself from chanting it, putting it to practice. That is where the connection between Vijnana and Kartrutvam is. That is the connection between well ascertained knowledge and doership, because as soon as you know something, you want to do it. This is how Vijnanamaya means identification with the doer. There is no problem in doing. There is no problem in knowing either. There is neither a problem in knowing nor there is a problem in doing. There is the problem in knowing that I am a doer. That is the problem. That is Maya. That is the Vikara. That is the modified, which is not Vijnanam. It is Vijnana Maya. This is the modification. So therefore, the Vijnanamaya means Kartritva Buddhi, wrong Kartritva Buddhi. Okay. And so therefore, this is the idea here in Vijnana. And then tasya esha eva sharira atma yaf purvasya. Yeah, tasya means what? Pranamayasya. So pranamayasya, because that which came before the manomaya, tasya sharira atma. Pranamaya, pranamayasya sharire bhavaha means what? This manomaya, etasmat manomayat, this manomaya atma, because of this manomaya atma alone, this pranamaya is atmavan. And then tena eshaha purnaha. So then what is that? Then by this, the tena manomayena eshaha pranamayaha purnaha. Then everything else, then sava esha purusha vidha eva. So purusha vidha means, let's not forget, because it's a refrain all the time. Purushakara, it looks like a human being. Why? Because of this bird analogy. Anu ayam purusha vidha. Tasya purusha vidhatam, because the Upanishad has loaded all these loci of error onto the bird imagery. So the Purushakara is keeping with the Pranamaya alone. The Pranamaya is keeping with the Sharira Annamaya. So Anu Ayam Purusha Vidha. This is how it has come all the way. Then before that, Anyontara Atma Vijnanamaya Tena Eshaha Purnaha. Eshaha here is referring to Manomaya. Esha Manomaya Tena Vijnanamayena Purnaha. And then, of course, then the whole mantra comes, Yato Vacho Nivartate, all this, and Nivartante. And here, Adi Shankara does not explain it at all. He goes straight to he goes to elsewhere. He goes straight to the next, sentence. And why does he do that? Because, as I said yesterday, the mantra is going to be repeated again. At that time, he will take it up, because there is no reason to do this twice. So he just saha ityadi, he says. Just he says, etc., etc., he just keeps it right there. So, tasya purvasya pranamaya eva atma sharirah. Sharire pranamaye bhavah sharirah. Kah yah eshah manomayah bhashya. With this we have already seen. He's just wrapping up. This is a segue. So the first tasya eva sharira atma yaf purvasya refers to the segue from pranamaya to manomaya. So just like the manomaya filled up the pranamaya, vijnanamaya is filling up. We are now finding out that vijnanamaya is filling up the manomaya in the same way. And why is it called Sharira Atma? Because it is Sharire Bhavaha. It is presented in the form of a body of the bird, etc. Tasmad vai etasmad ityadi purvavat. Purvavat. And then here we can repeat a little bit. It will be nice to just hear the Bhashya a little bit. Anyontara Atma
अन्योन्तर आत्मा
Vijnanamayah
विज्ञानमयः
Manomayasya
मनोमयस्य
Abhyantarah
आभ्यन्तरः
Vijnanamayah
विज्ञानमयः
Manomayah
मनोमयः
Vedatma Uktah
वेदात्मा उक्तः
Vedartha Vishaya Buddhi
वेदार्थविषया बुद्धिः
Nishchayatmika
निश्चयात्मिका
Vijnanam
विज्ञानम्
Taccha
तच्च
Adhyavasaya
अध्यवसाय
Lakshanam
लक्षणम्
Antahkaranasya Dharmaha
अन्तःकरणस्य धर्मः
तन्मयः
तन्मयः
निश्चयविज्ञानैः
निश्चयविज्ञानैः
प्रमाणस्वरूपैः
प्रमाणस्वरूपैः
निर्वर्तितः
निर्वर्तितः
आत्मा
आत्मा
विज्ञानमयः
विज्ञानमयः
प्रमाण
प्रमाण
विज्ञानपूर्वकः
विज्ञानपूर्वकः
हि यज्ञादितायते
हि यज्ञादितायते
यज्ञादिहेतुत्वञ्च
यज्ञादिहेतुत्वञ्च
वक्ष्यति श्लोकेन
वक्ष्यति श्लोकेन
very interesting. So, first we are told, tasmad vai etasmad ityadi purvavat. Tasmad vai etasmad manomayat anyantaratma vijnanamaya iti purvavat, just like before. And we've already seen that. Then, anyaha antaraha atma vijnanamaya. He just repeats the Shruti. Manomayasya, he just explains it a little bit. Manomayasya abhyantaraha, that which is even more subtle. Abhyantaraha, please don't take it as inner, because then you will be looking to see where it is located. There is no location here. Okay. So that which is more inner means more subtle, harder to exemplify, harder to objectify. And that is a locus of error called Vijnanamaya. So what is this Vijnanamaya? Adi Shankara tries two tactics at explaining it. He starts with one explanation, but it's almost like he finds that it is untenable, kind of. And then he goes off to another, he just drops that explanation quietly and goes off to the next explanation. Very, very fascinating over here. So first he tries this tactic, and I lost the bhashya. 1 second. अन्योन्तर आत्मा विज्ञान मनोमनस्य आभ्यन्तरः आभ्यन्तरो विज्ञानमयः So first he gives this explanation. Manomayo Vedatmoktaha. Manomaya, that which is Manomaya, Vedatma iti, we have to supply the iti here, Vedatma iti uktaha. So he's just refreshing our mind. What is he saying? That which was called Manomaya earlier is what it was talked about. It was talked about uh, as the Vedatma, as the in the form Vedatma means Vedaha Atma Yasya. The Veda is the body of which. So the Manomaya is the body of Manomaya is just a Veda. It is just an incarnation of the Veda. Like this, it was told. All right. And so Adi Shankara is so much tuned to Atma Jnanam. It's amazing. So then he says, if Manomaya is Vedatma, then the Artha of that, Artha of what? Vedartha. Vedatma and Vedartha. Vedatma does not mean that there will be Artha there. Veda means you could just repeat it. And people do repeat it. You go to any place in a temple in India or in North America for that matter, and you say, I want you to do a yajna. Okay, says the priest. Om Bhadram Karne Vishniyama Devaha, etc., etc., etc. And then you say, what does this mean? They will not know. They will not know. They say, oh, it is just for some devatas. They will not know. And they need not know because this is Manomaya is like that. It is all in the form of Veda, and then it is all in the form of the mantras, mantratmaka, Vedatmaka. And then, because there is no ascertainment of the meaning, there is no ascertainment of the meaning at all. And there is no ascertainment of the meaning because here it is just a reproduction of the meaning, a reproduction of the Veda itself in the form of thoughts. Here there is an ascertainment. And what is that ascertainment? Adi Shankara tries out a little tactic here because of his so much focus towards Vedanta. He says, why not we take it like this? Manomaya is Veda and then Vedartha Vishaya. Vedartha Vishaya means the what is Vijnanamaya? Vijnanamaya is the meaning of the words of the Veda. Why not we take it like that? So previously it was ascertained that Manomaya is Veda Swarupa, Vrityatmaka, etc. We said. It is in the form of Veda, etc. Uktaha. Uktaha by whom? By whom was it said? Shastrena Uktaha. And again, as I told you yesterday, don't say my mind doesn't have Veda, etc. That's not the point. So therefore, the Veda is included because it's in the form of Vritti. And so while discussing Manomaya, it was said to be the head and the Yaju and all these were the various Yajus and Sama were the wings, etc., etc. The whole thing was Manomaya. So Manomaya is Vedatma iti uktaha shastrena. Upanishad, Upanishada, by the Upanishad. And then now Vijnanamaya is what? Vijnanamaya is also Antakarana. It's all in the Sukshma Sharira. So then this Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya are all connected to organs of actions and sense organs. Pranamaya is connected to organs of actions. Manomaya is connected to the sense organs. And therefore, this Sankalpa, Vikalpa, Samshaya, Kama, Dhriti, etc., all these things are there. And then, so these are all there. And then, so that is that Vijnanamaya is also an attribute, as I said, of the Antakarana. Then then finally, as we saw, Vijnanamaya is taken to be Karta. But still, Vijnanamaya you can include when you're, in the Antakarana, as long as you know the separation of the two kinds of vritti. One is manaha, vritti belonging to the mind, and another one is vritti belonging to the buddhi. This kind of a separation. So, what is buddhi? Here is where it tries out a hand at a meaning. If Vedat, a very poetic meaning, if Vedatma is Manomaya, then Vedartha Rupa is Vijnanamaya, Artha Nishchaya. So Vedartha means the meaning of those mantras is Vijnanamaya iti. This is the Antakarana Vishesha. Both are Vrityatmaka, both are in the form of thoughts, but the Buddhi is in the form of the well ascertained meaning of the words of the Veda. Whereas Manomaya means in the mind, all the mantras can be loaded without knowing anything. This Prashna, that Prashna, Aruna Prashna, Rudra Prashna, this everything can be loaded. And then, but then there is no meaning is not understood at all. And so therefore the Vijnanamaya is Vedartha Swarupa. Bhashyakara talks about it like that. Buddhi iti Vijnanamaya Vedartha Vishaya Buddhi. Antakarana Vritti Vishesha alone. So the Manomayatvam of the Veda we have seen means it is in the form of Vritti, purely the words of the Veda here. But then Vedartha Vishaya Buddhi, the Artha alone is the Vishesha. Artha means the meaning of is the subject matter of the Buddhi. Therefore, it is called Vedartha Vishesha and Vedartha Vishaya. And the other one is Veda Vishaya. Manomaya is the subject matter is Veda, and Vijnanamaya is Vedartha, the meaning of the Veda. So this is both are in the form of vrittis, but Vedartha Vishesha vritti is in the buddhi, and so it is well ascertained meaning of the Veda. Now we run into a small problem here. Very nice it sounds, this meaning. Oh, one is just the thoughts of the Veda and the other one is the meaning of the Veda. How sweet. Meaning of Veda and Veda. Gained through study, gained through the pursuit of knowledge. So let's say there are people who don't even know V for Veda. All right. So that means what? They don't have Vijnanamaya. Huh? So therefore, very interestingly and very abruptly, Adi Shankara, toys with this meaning, but then very slowly, quietly, almost abruptly drops this and takes on another, a more fuller and a broader meaning for Vijnanamaya. So then it is Nishchayatmika. So then what he says is that the other one he focuses on the word Nishchayatmika. And how did he say? Adhyavasaya Lakshana. Adhyavasaya Lakshana Nishchayatmika Antakarana Vrittihi Vijnanamaya. So what is this Adhyavasaya Lakshana? Lakshana means characterized by, having the characteristic of. So Adhyavasaya is nothing but Vyavasaya. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana eka iha vartate. There is only one kind of decision you can make. Only and then that decision comes from the buddhi. Only one thing, out of two things, you can't have both of them. You can't have a life dedicated to reproducing all the misapprehensions about yourself, the world, Ishvara, and other jivas. You cannot you cannot choose to live mired in subjectivity and also be objective. That just doesn't happen. And so, therefore, this choice is needed. Go for the Nishchayatmika Vritti. Go for the well ascertained knowledge, in this case, in the Bhagavad Gita verse, in this case, of what to pursue. Have the Viveka and have the Vairagya to pursue Vedanta. This is what Arjuna who is the joy of the clan of the Kurus, Kuru Nandana, is told. So this is called Nishchayatmika. Then, because when there is a doubt, you do some research, you do some Nishchaya, until Nishchaya means until the well ascertained knowledge is there. So here Vedartha is Nishchaya, because how to interpret the yajna. Also there is a certain decision making needed. Nishchayatmika buddhi. This is the meaning of the sentence. Okay, how you do analysis of words and come to a well entrenched understanding. This is called Vijnanam, Vijnanamaya. So tacha adhyavasaya lakshanam. Adhyavasaya is just vyavasayatmika buddhi. Just adhi is added, that's all. So when you use the word adhyavasaya, that is nishchaya. So the nishchaya is done how? With the help of enquiry. That is what is nishchaya. So it's not, it is not that it is not that it is nishchaya without enquiry. That's why Vijnanamaya is much more subtle than the previous one, Manomaya. So he makes this very, very clear. It is also Antakarana Vritti. It's not some buddhi outside spinning in the galaxy. It is Antakarana Dharma only, but it is Nishchayatmika. It is unmoving and stable Vritti. So then Tanmayaha means Tadvikaraha, because it goes, the Nishchaya keeps on changing. First you decided something. You said, oh, this particular thing behaves in this way, this particular animal, the scientist decides, and then writes a paper. The habits of the habits of the beetle, and some kind of a beetle. And then what this is what it does. And then this is how it sleeps, and this is how it wakes up. And then new information comes. New Vijnanam comes, information comes. And again, Nishchaya has to be corrected. And the correction of that Nishchaya, that's why it keeps changing. That's why it is Maya. Tasmat Tanmayaha Tad Vikaraha. And so that Vikara alone, that is the Atma, Pramana Swarupaihi Nirvartitaha Atma. Pramana Swarupa means this, how do you have knowledge? The knowledge is always connected to a means of knowledge. Without the means of knowledge, knowledge cannot be produced. Knowledge of anything. For the knowledge to be produced, it has to be Pramana Siddha alone. It has to be Pramana Siddha. Even Vedanta knowledge is itself a Pramana. It is Pramana Siddha. But it is about something that is Swatah Siddha, means it is talking about the I that doesn't need to be established by a Pramana, making the paradox very interesting. And so therefore, so this Vijnanaihi Nishchayaha. So Vijnanaihi means the plural is very cleverly used, because we are not talking of one topic. We are talking of yajnas, we are talking of pujas, and then we are talking of how to repair your car, and then how to make sambar. All this is included. How to fly a plane. All this is Vijnanam, because there is some Nishchaya has to be done. You cannot say, oh, last time I pressed, the pilot cannot say, last time I pressed this button, this time I'm going to press this and see what happens. No, you have to ascertain what makes the plane go up and what makes it come down, etc., etc. You have to ascertain properly, because different topics are there, and then that expertise, getting that expertise in those particular topics in the form of pramana. That pramana connects the buddhi to the jnanam. The connection between the buddhi, the faculty of knowing, and the knowledge that is to be known. The connecting factor is pramana alone, the means of knowledge that is deployed, whether it's inference, whether it is multiple step inference, all these things, or whether it's just by observation, something you can just observe. You can just look at a person. The doctor can see the person coming into the clinic and say, okay, they look a little anemic. There is a certain way in which one can look. And then some signs of anemia are there. And then so like this, the different pramanas. So pramana swarupaihi vijnanaihi nirvartitaha. Nirvartitaha means set up in this manner. Nivartitaha means returned. No, here it's nirvartitaha. Atma vijnanamayaha. So that knowledge which is set up in different ways, which is through the connection between the faculty of knowing and the pramana that it encounters, the means of knowledge that it encounters, that is what is there. So nirvartitaha means kritaha. So this is vijnanamaya atma. The atma with reference to which is set up by the nishchaya vijnanam with reference to various topics. It's not just, it is pramana bhuta. Because valid means of knowledge is necessary for that knowledge to be nishchayatmika, for the nishchayatmikam, because that valid knowledge must be there. And that valid knowledge alone is produced by the operation of the pramana. Nay, Adi Shankara says it is a manifestation of the pramana, pramana swarupaihi nirvartitaha. It is all set up, the connection between the buddhi and the knowledge, leading to the conclusion, I am the doer. So the knowledge of how to fly the plane is there. And then when the person is flying the plane, then what happens? Then that knowledge is put into practice. That is where the doership connection comes. And so then, um, this so this is the this is the what is called vijnanamaya. Then how it becomes karta is going to be talked about in the Upanishad itself. And what is the, how it becomes a pitfall to this knowledge, that also we'll see. And then Vijnanamaya Upasana also will be given. And that also we will see that. We'll start seeing that next week itself. And one small prayer we have to say for Pranava Chaitanya, who lost his life yesterday at Bahamas. The person who was there in Shivananda Ashram in Bahamas departed the body as a result of an accident. And so we will chant the Trayambakam Yajamahe mantra, and we will pray for his Sadgati. Very good person, always kept to himself, very helpful and serious he was. And we'll chant the mantra, and we'll chant the mantra, then we'll end with a moment of silence, and then we'll pray for his Sadgati. That is what we pray for. ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.